morning, everyone. It's a new day in many, many senses. We saw some justice last night. We saw something that represents a beginning and a change. And I think it's fair to say all over the country, there was a sense of relief that justice was finally done. But it's not enough. George Floyd's not here. He should be here. He should be alive. He should be with his family. He should be living his life. He's not. So right there, we know that it's only some justice. And the changes we need to make are much greater. And this needs to be a moment to really dedicate ourselves, to take the relief and the hope and the sense that maybe things can change, but act on it. And to look at what can really make a change. Here in this city, we've had a long journey, changing the relationship between police and community, reforming the police department. We have a lot more to do, I want to be clear. And some approaches have worked better than others, but we have learned some things fundamentally. Reforming policing is necessary. It has to be ongoing. It is a task that does not end because there's always more to do. And building a bond between police and community is actually both necessary for peace, but it's also the only way to safety. We can't effectively police without communities being fully involved and engaged and believing that what their police are doing is right. All over the city, I've heard for years and years from people, communities of color, working people, immigrants, they want to be protected, but they want it done the right way. They want to be respected. They want to make sure there's no discrimination. And we've made strides in that direction, but we sure have more to do. That said, we've done some things here that I think do work and should be recognized in other places that still have to create fundamental reform. There's no question in my mind that neighborhood policing as a strategy is the way forward. That stronger oversight and transparency works. The things we've done to strengthen the Civilian Complaint Review Board, to make police discipline records available, but even more so recently the discipline matrix, which I think is a model that could have power all over this country, so that everyone knows very, very publicly, very openly, what happens if an officer does something wrong. So much of what we heard last night was that simple word, accountability. People finally seeing some accountability. It needs to be an everyday thing. And that discipline matrix allows for that. Retraining the police force. That happened here, every single officer, after the killing of Eric Garner. What that led to was an understanding that de-escalation has to be the approach always. Implicit bias training has to be the approach always. Right now, I think every police officer in America should be retrained to de-escalate conflict, to use the minimum of force, not what we've seen in so many horrible videos, the maximum of force, unnecessary force, reckless force. So the changes that we're making here, I really do think could be the basis of a lot of good other places as well. And also acknowledging the problem, as we did in the recent series of police reforms, acknowledging that there's structural racism in policing that must be weeded out, that work continues, saying those words and acting on them, and the work we're going to do with our Racial Justice Commission, looking at our whole city government and our laws to recognize where there's institutional racism and very specifically identify it, renounce it, move forward with new laws, new policies. That's the work we're going to have to do every day from now on, so we never lose another George Floyd. We never have to wait on a jury verdict because the work has been done at the beginning. And there's never a moment like this again. So we feel relief, we feel hope, but I feel resolve, and I hope we all feel resolve to do a lot more.